Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Bridge Dialogue.
Question usually was, what's your profession? I didn't have a clear answer to that.
The foundation of these barriers was me. Most of our barriers are stemmed and rooted in us.
People sit in rooms where we are not there, but they're making decisions about us. So you better ensure that when they are in that room, it is your name that they are going to mention.
Indulging in a sexual relationship with someone because you want a job is not power. It will not take you anywhere.
Today we have amazing 25 young emerging women who are also Nyaka alumni, and they'll be hearing from our panelists, Esther and Joan, who have joined us to create the bridge between the young emerging leaders with accomplished women, introducing them to what they need to know and have as they join the workforce. This is Nyaka at 25 years, and today we celebrate 25 women and 25 features. Thank you very much. My name is Amanda Kawaisolia. I work as a communications manager with Nyaka. I'm very, very happy to see you ladies. It's been a while. For some of you who recently graduated, congratulations. I'm very, very excited to have our amazing speakers today. And the conversation is centered around the Bridge Dialogue. Why the Bridge Dialogue? Looking at some of the challenges the young people are facing today, it's greatly unemployment. And we have also seen a very big gap between the really young people who we can term as the Gen Zs and some millennials, and then there is an age gap with the older generation. And there is been lack of a bridge to carry forward the young people to get them to the experiences of what it means to be in a workplace, take on opportunities, grow your career. So during this conversation, we are going to be looking at that, how we can bridge that gap and introduce our young people into this workforce. I want to take this moment to give our speakers a chance to introduce themselves, tell you what they do, and we will take it on from that. Thank you.
My name is Joan Kirunga. I am a data scientist. I'm sure most of you are familiar with so much of data, AI, because you're young people and you're very tech savvy. So I'm a data scientist, and I work with an organization called Stanbic Bank, Uganda, here in Uganda. And I am beyond that, I'm also very passionate about technology. And in that space, I lead a community called Women in Data Science. So in Women in Data Science, which is also WIDS, we train young ladies like you. We help them upskill their data science and AI skills. And we also mentor them. And I see most of you are ladies that are strong-willed, and you are, you're ladies that if any of you are interested in technology, I think you would be the right fit for such opportunities. So that is what I do, and I'm happy to be here and to meet with you and to connect with each one of you. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, Amanda. Good morning, everyone who is here. I'm so excited to be here. I feel like every time you have an opportunity to meet young people, in this context, women, young ladies, it's an opportunity that I cannot waste. It's time well spent. It's a future built. And so I'm very excited about the theme, 25 years, 25 women, 25 features, right? Yeah, and I hope by the end of this, we shall have impacted you in one way or another. I'm sure we are both excited to also hear and learn from you. My name is Esther Odora. I'm currently the manager for international relations at Uganda Revenue Authority. By education, I'm a social scientist and a public policy specialist. But in terms of experience, I am experienced more in change management, brand management, communication, and project management. And in my free time, my excitement is to support young people. So I don't have a specific organization I'm aligned to in that case, but I have lots of friends and people that open opportunities for me to be able to impact young people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, our dear speakers. The ladies, I think you can hear, we will really, really, really learn a lot today. I want to take a moment to give us a background of what Nyaka is and where we come from and how we get to be at 25 years. A young man in 2001 who had lost 2 of his siblings to HIV and AIDS, compassionately returned back to his hometown, because at this point he had gone to study in the US. He goes back to his hometown in Nyaka, Jersey, to see how to take on the responsibility of his nieces and nephews. So while there and navigating that, the whole community is having an outcry. They had so many kids who had lost their moms and dads, and that's where the vision was born. So Nyaka starts out with a community of people who are willing to take on these kids who have been orphaned, and they start up a school. Started in 2003. The school was offering absolutely free education for these kids, and that was the criteria at the time. But as the school went on, it took on other vulnerable children. They didn't necessarily have to be from that type of background. And from 1 school to 2 primary schools, and then a secondary school, a whole education program was birthed. We have a whole big alumni community who have gone through these schools, and some of the young women are here, and we are celebrating them today. We are so happy to have you. From education, we have a grandmother program. As you all know, Nyaka, unlike other organizations, didn't so much think of starting up orphanages to take care of orphans. The organization at the time worked closely with the community. So the community at the time, these are grandmothers, they were willing to take on some of these children and look after them, raise them. These children were not vulnerable, they were given homes within the grandmother homes, and that's how a whole grandmother program was birthed. This is 2007. Right now, the organization is supporting over 23,000 grandmothers who are looking after over 96,000 children. And the organization didn't stop at that, set up a clinic in the same community. It's at Health Center 2 level. Our nurses visit homes and check on some of these grandmothers. So just so you know, for the students and the grandmothers, absolutely free medical attention. Following a sad story of one of our primary students being defiled in 2015, this type of violence had not only happened to this girl, but many other girls. Some were dropped out of school, some were teenage mothers, and that's how the Sexual and Gender-Based Violence Program was born. Every year since 2015, we've held annual walks to raise awareness, sensitization, and let people know that any violence against women is not acceptable. So the organization has set up healing centers to support survivors, and we closely work with police, with community leaders to make sure that justice is served for these survivors. Yes, 25 years has been such a long stretch. It's amazing, the work. It goes on and on and on. I haven't even told you the other amazing things, but we'll get to learn as we go along. Yeah, so today it's about making sure we interact with accomplished women like our speakers today. Do not hold back. Prepare your questions. At the end of the day, we want you to walk out here knowing you are the next leaders. All right, we can get into the discussion. Esther and Joanne, we want to talk about what your career journey has been like. What are some of the challenges in your career that have shaped you today?
I finished university as a social scientist, and there's no specific career that you would say, an auditor will go into auditing, but a social scientist, there's so much places you can go. You can go into admin, you can go into public sector. And so when I left school, I didn't know what I was going to be. I did a small stint at DFCU Bank for about 6 months, and then the opportunity for me to work in URA came. And when that opportunity came, I was employed as a human resource officer. But hardly did I do him. I actually didn't set off feet in the human resource office. I was part of a cohort that was selected to go and work after they did a character analysis in our PR office. And that's where I started working in the media. I did a little bit of media for about a year. And after that, I always had this question lingering. If you ask me, whom am I? What is your career? What is your what do you do? I always struggled, because I was neither in media fully, nor was I in PR fully. So eventually an opportunity came for me, and I was appointed to a higher role as a brand manager. Then slowly there were opportunities that came. I ventured into project management, and that's where I cemented myself. So that's where I spent most of my career until recently, when I was promoted and made manager international relations. So for me, the whole point in this question that you ask, Amanda, is to say that yes, sometimes you may not know what you want to become. If you're lucky and you know that is well and good, but you can see my career has not been linear. And now I'm sure, but how long ago is that? It's about 20 years is where I'm finally coming to be sure that this is what I want to do.
My story is mostly in the tech field, and I like that you and I are bringing the social area, the social expertise, as well as the IT engineering expertise. So I started off my career with a Bachelor's of Science in Software Engineering at Makerere University, and I spent 4 years there doing my bachelor's. And I want you to know that by then data science was not there. These AI things just came. So as well, when you listen to my story, you'll also learn a lot of morphing, changing yourself. And I think, ladies, we are very adaptable. So that is, it is one of the barriers in technology, is that it keeps evolving, it keeps changing. There are new things that keep coming up. So if I had stuck in software engineering, I wouldn't have embraced this age of AI that we are in. So do not look, for those of you who are in engineering and IT, or who are in the social area like her, you have to always get ready to morph and change yourselves. So ladies, embrace change and keep learning, because life is a series of learning. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joan and Esther, for sharing a bit about your journey. I'm sure, ladies, you're starting to hear some of these things and you're relating. For some of you who are already trying to step into the workspace, please prepare your questions for these amazing women, and I'm sure they'll be able to answer. Yeah, moving on. Based on the journey that you have walked in your career journey, has there been that one thing that was a barrier, and how did you navigate through it and get on the other end?
To talk about barriers, I think for me the very one that started off was not being sure, not being able to define clearly what I do and who I am. And like I mentioned earlier, I always struggled when they asked me, what do you do? Or what is, actually the question usually was, what's your profession? I didn't have a clear answer to that. But then an opportunity came for me to apply for a scholarship of the Australian government. That was in 2012. And I got the scholarship and I went and studied. And I remember my decision on what to study was because I had seen that I am very good at management and project management specifically. And I knew that I am not so comfortable working in the private sector. I still had that career, that mentality of our parents, okay? I used to see how competitive the private sector would be. And so I was like, I would want to work for government. Easy stuff, right? So I said, I'm going to study public policy. And then I returned. That was in 2015. I left actually in 2013. I did 2 years. 2015 when I came back. Up to last year, there was no move upwards. And for me, that was now, I think, the real definition of a barrier. I had a clearly defined profession that I could clearly speak to, but I did 2 interviews. Each of them I was 100% sure I was the best qualified candidate. Yeah, there's one thing I had learned when I went to do my master's is to be adaptable and to learn that you may be the best, but then someone could be a better fit. And I think that's what happened in those two times. And when you go into the workplace, that could also happen to you. And I didn't allow that to put me down. But finally, last year, I broke through that barrier of being stagnant in one position, and then I was promoted. But how did that promotion come about? People could see that even when I didn't get the opportunities I wanted, I was not a sour graper. I had to train some people who took up bigger positions than me. I still had to support them, not sabotage them, not give them bare minimum. Because at the back of my mind, one, I have always been trained, and I think it comes from my Christian background. Work like you're working for God, not for man. And that has been my mantra. Okay? So I work, everything I do, I work like I'm working for God. So men might disappoint me. By men, I mean human beings. They may not give me what I feel is due to me, but it's not them that I'm serving.
So ladies, I'll share some of the barriers, but I'll share two things, and I want you to write them down. The first is imposter syndrome, and I want you to know that all these barriers, the root, the foundation of these barriers was me. And ladies, that is how most of us work. Most of our barriers are stemmed and rooted in us. So imposter syndrome is a syndrome where you feel like everyone is better than me, you know? You walk into a room and you look at everyone, you're like, oh my God, that person knows more. And you know, someone puts up their hand and you're like, oh my goodness, they know more than me. And when you're in a field where they are mostly gentlemen, like in class, 70%, 80% would be the gentlemen. You'd walk in, you're like, I think I'm getting a retake. Oh my God, I'm the one who doesn't know. But they also do not know, as they're like you. They're there to learn. And the only way to maneuver imposter syndrome is to do. Action is the solution to imposter syndrome. One small win, one small success will help you break that barrier of imposter syndrome. There was a survey that was done, and in fact, there's a lady who did a TED talk on it. She said ladies are quick to disqualify themselves. We quickly disqualify ourselves. A gentleman, on the other hand, they will have the same level of qualification. He'll say, or even less, that is true. And he'll say, okay, I have that one, I don't have. And they'll say, but you know what? What will it cost me if I apply and I get rejected? Nothing. The second problem, I want you to note down, was fear of failure. You know, men, they fail quite often, you know. Maybe they see a beautiful girl, they go try to talk to her and she rejects them. They keep try someone else, but no one even cares that much. People will move on. People are busy. I want to give you again a solution to that barrier. Fail fast. By fast, I mean quickly. Fail fast. Fail often. Because failing often will help you build a muscle. You know, it will help you build the strength to take that failure. Yeah. And lastly, fail forward. If you fail on this job application, you will know what to do better on the next job application. Right, ladies? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joanna and Esther. It's not by mistake that you're here. When you hear most of these young women's stories based on resilience at a point where I know they met a barrier, but they did not stop at that point. They kept pushing. I'm sure at this point they relate to the things that you are talking about. Thank you very much for sharing that. What advice would you give the young women as they are stepping into the workforce? What would you say to them? What should they arm themselves with to make sure that they stand out or they don't hold back? And keep in mind that we are in a season where things have changed. A lot has changed. We can't use the old book anymore. You know, and in as much as through school, the book may still look the same, but once we get into the world, things have completely changed. So from what you're currently experiencing, what would you say to them to arm themselves and be different as they get into the workforce?
You know, hearing Amanda speak about the history of the organization, I always tell myself I want to one day start something that will last. You know, now this is someone who has started something that is going to last beyond them. Okay, and I just want to assure you, ladies, that you could be that person. In this room, there's someone who is going to be a CEO. There's someone who is going to be a head of an international organization. There's someone even who is going to decide to be a housewife, but they will produce some of the best children this country or this world has ever had. So there is potential in each of you. And on the third part, there's probably someone who is going to go and their life won't amount to much. I'm hoping they will not be in this room. But when you look behind it, it's not often that most of them have failed because there were no opportunities. It's because they didn't manage their opportunities well. So when I entered this room and as you kept coming in, the first thing that impressed me is how you dressed. Okay? I was like, okay, these guys get it. So for me, the first thing I want to tell you is in terms of opportunities and what is knowing how to appear and present yourself where you're supposed to go. It's easier for you right now if you want to become an engineer to know what is required of you in the field of engineering. Okay? You have more people speaking to you compared to what for us we had then. Yeah, we were very groomed in a traditional way. Whenever there was an opportunity to grab, well, while I was not getting the promotion, while things were not going well, I was applying myself to those opportunities. We sit in rooms, people sit in rooms where we are not there, but they're making decisions about us. Okay? They are talking about opportunities that we would want. So you better ensure that when they are in that room, whether it's a boardroom, a management room, it is your name that they are going to mention. They are going to be like, I know a one Joan. The other thing to prepare yourself, which again comes from exposing yourself and embracing opportunities, is build relationships. Relationships will take you far. Relationships open doors. You're going to go into the workplace and people will keep telling you, this is a workplace, we are not here to make friendships. I don't agree with that. I don't agree. Let me tell you, spend 8 hours at work for us who are employed, yeah, in with people, employers. 8 hours is a lot of time to be working with people that you don't like and allow people to build relationships with you. Don't be a monster boss. Don't be a monster friend. Don't be a monster sister, a monster neighbor. It is that one person who will tell you there's this opportunity that is existing somewhere.
And you know, when people think about visibility, they think, you know, in the Ugandan setting, we call it okwete kako, like, you know, over putting yours, okwete kako, you know. But right now in the professional setting, don't care about what people say. Now in the age that you're in, you have a lot of technology. So build your visibility on LinkedIn, on social media. Let people know what you're good at. Even now, take pictures here. Put them on your LinkedIn and say, I was attending this. Let people know that you are a serious lady. Then the second thing is about the relationships, right? Like she was talking about. When she said that, I said she has hit the nail on the head. I want to give you a quick example about how building a relationship with someone got me a very big opportunity. So when I was done with university back in the day, someone said, there is an MTN thing that is happening. It's a bit like a hackathon. At that hackathon, it was a 3-day event, meaning it gave me an opportunity to keep establishing my relationships with these people. Now, day 3, there was a gentleman who came and he was in the marketing team. Yes, he was dressed in an MTN t-shirt. I said, this is my opportunity. I gave him my CV. He's like, no, I'm in marketing. But he's like, but you know what? Okay, I'll keep your CV. Had written my email address. After a couple of weeks later, he told me, you know what? There is an opportunity here at MTN where they are looking for fresh graduates. If you're interested, let me know. I can just forward your CV or send you an email address to send your CV. So that is how I got the opportunity. Over time, it pays off, ladies. Oh, thank you.
I always ask myself, when there's something I want and I'm feeling a bit timid, what's the worst that can happen? And I always add, does this person have a gun? Because for me, the worst is killing me. If the person has no gun and they can't shoot me and I die, yeah, then I take up that opportunity. I go for it, okay? Perhaps the third thing I want to say that would be a very big takeaway is volunteering yourself. There are so many opportunities now. Look for a lot of volunteer work where you apply your skill. It's going to open doors for you. I can assure you of that. Sometimes all you need is someone to let you know that there's an opening somewhere. Relationship.
Whoa. How are we feeling? Are we learning something? I want us to move to a very sensitive topic before we can hear from our audience. As an organization, like I told you, we have dealt with survivors of sexual violence. We have a whole program, sexual and gender-based violence. Now, we know that this violence also happens in workplaces. And young women continue to face these challenges. How would a young lady navigate a situation where someone who is above them, a supervisor, is making advances, you're caught in between? How do I not offend but yet stand up for myself? Or in the event that I'm found in that situation, exactly how should I navigate that? With the experience that you have, I'm sure it's things you have come across. Please speak to the ladies.
Never ever should you allow a situation that demeans you. You know, we're talking about violence, but it might even be something as simple as someone not directly being violent to you, but belittling you, passing over opportunities that are due to you and all that. There are people who are not normal. I call it abnormal. Yeah, they just don't want to be decent human beings. Yeah. Now, the first step is to make it clear what is acceptable and what is not acceptable to you. And you don't have to do that in a very violent way. There are very many things, I'm sure people who work with Joanne or Amanda know that that's a no-go area when it comes to Amanda, when it comes to Joanne. Okay? And people will not even test that boundary. For example, if it's sexual violence, the men are not sure. One time you're giving them ideas, another time you're not giving them ideas. Let the gentlemen in your workplace, wherever you find yourself, whether it is your business, know. Okay? Then the second thing, appraise yourself with the mechanisms for addressing such things in your organization. But the first thing starts with you saying no. Okay? When you go to the workplace, young girls, by all means, married men are a no-go area. They have money, they have opportunities, they have the power. I have not seen anyone in these 20 years that I have worked who can say I was successful by going after another woman's husband. And you know what, you young girls, I'm not scaring you, but they are waiting for you. Then the single men, it's okay if you've decided that for you, you're single, you want to try around. But also dating in the workplace, it's a very dangerous ball game. If you see another person experiencing, actually that's something very important. Let's look out for each other, and not just each other as ladies, fine, each other ladies, but everyone in your workplace. Yeah, don't see a victim of violence and keep quiet.
Right now you're at the stage where you're applying for jobs. So you may or you may not, I hope you do not, encounter someone who will say, in order to give you this job, why don't you meet me at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., you know? So, and communicate it. Because men tend to say, she didn't look. You know, women, they are noise. Yes. Communicate it. Say, I am not comfortable and I will not come, whether you give me the job or not. So just as you apply for a job and the employer has the power to reject you, in this case, this is roles reversed. You have the power to be the one to reject. So this is your opportunity. So being in a sexual relationship with someone who is like your manager, or indulging in a sexual relationship with someone because you want a job, is not power. It will not take you anywhere. You'll be proud of yourself for making the right decision. Right?
To add to that, I want you to know that whatever we are discussing here applies to young entrepreneurs as well. I know some of you are not exactly planning to take the path of job, career. You already started on your small businesses and you've become founders of your innovations and initiatives. Just know that whatever is being discussed here can also be applied as you walk your journey of entrepreneurship. let's hear from the ladies. We want to have 3 to 4 women come here, give their professional pitch, and Esther and Joanne, you will hear how they speak. We want you to give advice as the rest are learning of, would you hire this person? And if not, what would you want? How better can they make their pitch?
My name is Paul Karunji, and I currently serve as an investment representative at Legacy Hills Investments. Actually, I lead the team of advisors.
Nishawa Georgia is my name, a fresh graduate from Makerere University Business School.
I pursued Bachelor of Arts in Education. That makes me a teacher by profession.
I want to change how the community perceives, interacts, and benefits from insurance benefits.
Deliverance Tukamushawa is my name. I'm a finalist at Nkumba University. I did a bachelor's degree in information systems and technology. I am deeply passionate about problem solving using technology, specifically in the education sector. And one of my goals is to develop an AI predictive model for analyzing and predicting students' performance, specifically in primary and secondary schools. By doing that, by analyzing students' performance and finding out the academic risks at an early stage, we can be able to intervene and provide them the right support at the right time so that every child will have equal opportunity to embrace their full potential so that we can have a successful community with a better future. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
I just want to maybe pick on Deliverance. I liked your confidence. You were quite confident and clear on that you're passionate about what you do. But for the rest of you, what I was left with was the so what. You mentioned what you do or what you'd like, but so what? What is the problem and what are you solving? Because that's the idea and direction nowadays we are taking. So I was listening to you from the perspective of you're looking for a job or a contract or something, an opportunity, okay? So the question is, what's the problem and what solution are you bringing on table?
Yeah, thank you, Esther. I feel like Esther stole what was in my head. So one, I'll start with the confidence. I'll talk about all of you, the work that the education experience that you have is amazing. So let that be your source of confidence. So that is number one. Number two, again, is the problem. That is what I want you to think about. Problem, solution, and outcome. Right? And for like the lady who is into AI, use statistics. Give them those statistics. That is how you will make them care enough about the solution. Then now bring that tool as your solution. The way you will knock this off their game is by telling them the outcome. Right? So for instance, if you're saying, I'm doing something for mental health, I'm teaching financial literacy, whatever, talk about the outcome. You can talk about the successes. Say, I've taught over 100 people financial literacy and I've seen them open our Old Mutual account, or talk about some of the outcomes that you have. And then people will start asking you questions. You grab their attention from the outcome. So ladies, jot that down: problem, solution, and outcome.
That brings us to the end of the Bridge Dialogue, and we want to say thank you so much to our incredible speakers, Joanne and Esther, for your honesty and your wisdom. And to our participants, thank you for showing up, for engaging, and for being part of this powerful space. As we celebrate 25 years of Nyaka's community-led impact, today is a reminder that the future is not something we wait for, it is something we build and we build together. Thank you all. Let's continue the conversation.